Okay, good morning, Eden. So on Shabbos afternoon, we talked about volume 15 in the previous Rebbe's Kodesh, previous Rebbe's collection of letters. And volume 15, as explained on Shabbos, is completely and wholly dedicated for correspondence between the Rebbe and his daughter and son-in-law, the Rebbetzin and the Rebbe. I'm not going to spend too much time on the history. We spoke about that a bit on Shabbos, but essentially these letters span 13 years from the Rebbe's wedding until the Rebbe moves. The Rebbe's wedding in 1927 until the Rebbe moves to New York in 1941. Because otherwise, before the Rebbe is with his father-in-law or future father-in-law at the time, or he's with his father-in-law again after he moves to New York. It's during this time after the Rebbe gets married, the Rebbe moves to France and Germany respectively. That's where these letters are taking place. And as we explained on Shabbos, the reasons Chabad published this volume going through these letters. So I just sampling a number of letters. So I find them interesting. They're very beautiful. They're very geschmack. A lot of really just an outpouring of love. Just the language that the previous Rebbe to his daughter, to his son-in-law, and then Rebbe back is full of love, and full of encouragement, and full of it's just really, really, really beautiful itself. And you can almost read the whole thing from beginning to end, almost like a storyline. You could see what they're busy doing with, and what they're up to, and what they're thinking, and where they are, just from reading this from the book of letters, just read from the beginning to the end. And as I mentioned the Shabbos, a lot of it has to do with the Rebbe's involvement in doing work on behalf of the previous Rebbe, finding books, meeting people, commenting on books, publishing articles, uh, giving speeches and farbrengen into different places, and things of that nature. So the collection of letters that you're looking at, and it's on your computer, it's on your phone, should be, on both the different WhatsApp groups. Some of these letters I chose from memory, like I remember these letters that I wanted to include in the list, and others I just went to the index in the back and pulled up. But really, you could do, go through the index again, sample other letters, and you'll get very similar feeling and energy. Okay, so let's begin then. The first one, if you have the text on your phone, just say Hey Tough Samach Test. That's letter 5,469. That's not the 5,000th letter that ever sent. The previous ever sent to his son-in-law. That's the 5,000th letter period, starting from volume 1. This is volume 15. Anyway, okay. Baruch Hashem Aleph Chotel Kislev Tzadik Aleph. The first Sunday, the 24th of Kislev, the Chanukah. Tzadik Aleph, that would be 1931. Chasni Kari v'Chavivi Harav, and Rebbe's name. My son-in-law, my precious, beloved son-in-law, Rebbe's name. Shalom Bracha, greetings and blessings. Michtavcha Harishim Moedeh Kibalti, your first letter I received in time. V'nenesi Michlalos, I think it's a Talmud Torah. The first paragraph here is not going to be clear, and actually the editor's put in the footnote that they're not quite clear what it means. We'll just read it. And the next part of the letter is what I wanted to show you. So the previous writes, "V'nenesi Michlalos Talmud Torah." I took pleasure, generally speaking, from your Torah learning. B'vadai, and certainly, Roy Hoya. This next paragraph, the editors in the footnote say we're not quite clear what their previous ever means, but we just read it. It would be appropriate to organize a system for Gemara learning, as well as some matters of learning Chassidus, following the pattern of the Polish Jews, at least. I don't know what that means. But there's nobody available that's capable of getting this done. Okay, I don't know what this is talking about. Obviously, it's some other project that they're in the previous year working on, and they write in the footnotes, they're not sure what it is. Here's what I want to show you. Blessed are you from your second letter, in the comprehension and the study of Chassidus, lamitasa, truthfully, li'ache, to become one with it, lalamda, to learn it, lavina, to comprehend it, blasoisa, to get it done. And from the inner depth of my heart, I bless you with a double and triple blessing. Ki Yazer Hashem Yisbarach, that God should help you. The good morning V'Yikayim, and the matter of this blessing should take effect right away, material and spiritually. Hineni chaysancha, yeah, chaysancha, how do you pronounce that? Beis Chaf Aleph. Love him with everything I have, but and I bless you. Okay. So the Friedrich is blessing the Rebbe, clearly in response to a request from the Rebbe. He should be blessed with understanding and learning Chassidus. And the Rebbe previous Rebbe gives him a beautiful blessing in that regard. Not just blessing, but actually a description, telling him you are blessed with understanding Chassidus truthfully, becoming one with it, learning and understanding it, doing it, etc. So the next thing on the bottom, right under that, in the middle of the page where it says page Kuf Aleph, is the Rebbe's response to that letter. So that letter was 24th of Kislev before Hanukkah, and this is Gimel Shvat, Dalet Shvat right after Hanukkah. So Gimel, Tuesday, Dalet Shvat, the 4th of Shvat, Tafish Sadek Aleph, 1931. Berlin. Maybe it's 1930 because before December, I don't know. Before January. Okay, that writes to his father-in-law. Beis Mechtavov, the Moyadam Kibalti, I received both the letters in due time. And that explains why he's asking for a bracha. Masha Bikashti bracha, this fact that I asked for a blessing, and comprehending the learning of Chassidus, his amtzatz ita and the connection with it, etc. It's only because I yearn for this. When I wrote to the Rebbe the request for this bracha, because I truly believe that if the Rebbe will want it, the emes mikerev alev amuk, truthfully from the depth of his heart, whether the Rebbe is going to do it through a bracha, through blessing me, or the Rebbe is going to do it as a prayer. But they're calling Payal he'll be able to get it done, Lamaila above, that all these should take effect, be in me, but Payal Mamish Namata, literally down here. I'm trying to translate as literally as I can without getting any commentary, but you can appreciate what's. Says the Rebbe writing. Okay, no comment, just leave it as is. The letter under it is the previous Rebbe responding a month later, and he writes there, certainly you got my letter, Hashem should bless you, should strengthen your heart and mind to serve Hashem truthfully, and then the rest of the letter is okay. All right, the next letter, which says, Hey, Tuf Nun. Okay, this is the letter. On Shabbos, we read a letter together with Rebbe writes to his father-in-law that he's a very private person and no interesting events happened to him, and that's why he's not writing anything. This is the letter that prompted that response. So it would be the third picture that you have in your WhatsApp. Baruch Hashem, hey, Thursday, Vav Adar, it's the 6th of Adar. Previous year was writing, Chasni, Yikiri, Chavivi, Rav Nachman Lashichya. My beloved and precious son-in-law, that have his name. Toida Lokel, thanks to God, Ba'ad Ha. I'm not sure what that stands for. Maybe should continue, the strength should continue that way. I don't know what that stands for though. Not sure. Okay, the previous Rebbe continues. With pleasant, I pleasantly read your letter from the 18th of last month. So 18th of Shvat. Previous Rebbe continues. I think to myself, I need to clarify the following. When you would place before you, the previous Rebbe is writing to the Rebbe, the truth as it is, the true internal connection that there should be between the two of us, at all times, you would certainly find interesting things that take more than one page to write to me. This is what prompted the Rebbe to respond by saying, as a private person, there's nothing interesting that happens to him. Previous Rebbe continues, that which I've asked you about the division of Agudas Yisrael for the youth division. I know my weakness. I have a weak spot for the youth. And I have a weak spot for thinking that the most important thing is to collect youth and encourage them and teach them. And the previous Rebbe continues, and this, again, I'm going to try to translate as literally as possible. And the words speak for themselves. Indeed, the matter is so. There are a number of things that we learn. And we pass through them without properly paying attention to it. I'm not sure what they ever wrote that would prompt previous Rebbe to write this, but there are things that people learn, we go through them, and we don't pay attention. This is one of the most important things in our avodah, in our service of Hashem. Hasimas lev, paying attention. When you're talking about really doing work and service of Hashem, it's the idea of stopping, taking a pause. When a person is contemplating any contemplation, the person has to then stop, pause. This is the following was what it really means to contemplate. Histaklas chazaka, to strongly look at something. Then the previous Rebbe goes to Yiddish. To look into the matter. Meaning not just to think about it, but to look at it. This, by the way, is a theme that comes up in the previous Rebbe's Chassidus in general. The importance of looking at the idea you're thinking about, looking at it, to gaze at it. The previous Rebbe continues. Hashliva Rishona, the first step on the Besulam HaChassidus, on the ladder of Chassidus, Hiharetiva, is to literally, retiva means to be wet, to be juicy. Nitnar Zain Nitroken, not just not to be dry, nor habern a feichtigkeit, but to have literally again, a moisture, a wetness, a Weinkeit, a juiciness, a Getreigkeit, a real feeling toward it. And someone who stands on the first step of the ladder, Yachal Bez Hashem, can with God's help, Lakavos, to hope, Lalas, Petzulam, Aslacha, Bagash, Pesiruknes, to keep climbing the ladder with success, both materially and spiritually. And the rest of the letter, the Frierdiker Rebbe addresses something to do with his father. The Rebbe asked the Frierdiker Rebbe to help him with his father, with his parents in Russia, and the letter continues to go on about that. Okay. Again, no comment. Picture number 5. Oh, wait. Yeah, picture number 5. Baruch Hashem Chav Kibbutz Adar Reish Tzadik Aleph, 23rd of Adar, 1931. Chasani Yakiv Chavivi Harav, the Rebbe's name. My precious and beloved son-in-law, the Rebbe's name. Again, the same acronym. Teidel Akel Ba'ad, Machir Kailachai. Okay. The last line, Ksiv. This again, I try to translate as beautiful, literally as possible, because the words themselves are just beautiful. Ksiv, the verse reads, the verse reads, "For my thoughts, says God, are not like your thoughts." Chassidus explains, that human thought down here is incomparable to thoughts above by Hashem. Because Hashem's thoughts up there, from his thought, is done and created, just Hashem's thought. And as the saying goes, with one thought, God created all the worlds. But a person's thought ain't a poem doesn't really, you can't do things. That's lihu mukhshi. And as far as I'm concerned, in my own experience as the previous Rebbe, this is clear. Because if we're up to all the thoughts I have about you, if my thoughts about you would automatically affect writing, meaning to say that if my thoughts were able to write without the need to come to the hand and its actions, you would have letters upon letters, bundles and booklets, but mispar nachan in a big volume. But because human thought must come through writing, there are things holding me back. This letter I want to bless you. I want to bless you on the occasion of my daughter, of the birthday of your wife, my precious daughter. May she live. The bracha mishalesis with the tripled bracha, the bonachayim is under Revicha, with children, health, parnasa, and abundance. Parnasa, kfula, doubled parnasa, parnasa gashmis, parnasa ruchnius, material parnasa and spiritual parnasa. With all good, begashmis and ruchnius, both materially and spiritually. And as I write in my letter to your wife, my dear daughter, my precious daughter, may she live. The next letter is a letter from the Fidika to Rebbe Chaim Mushka for her birthday with a beautiful bracha. Previous Rebbe concludes, thank you very much for the book based Akad Svarim. The volume, other volumes. Please buy them on my behalf. And if other books like this are published, please let me know right away. I'm your father-in-law who seeks your welfare. I love you infinitely. And I look forward to the best good, both materially and spiritually. And I bless you. Letter 7.
What would be
Picture 7. Yeah. Your interpretation is as good as mine. Okay, number 7. Maybe we'll skip to 9. Can we do both? Let's try to do both. Okay. Oh, no, sorry, 7 and 8 we did already. So let's go to page number to the 9th and 10th picture. Okay. Baruch Hashem, Yudala Tammuz, Tafrei Sadakeh, the 14th of Tammuz, coming up in the year 1935. Otwotsk. The previous year was in Otwotsk, a small little village outside of Warsaw, or a small town outside of Warsaw, Poland, where the previous year set up his court with the yeshiva and so on. Okay, so the letter reads like this: Biti Karasi Chavivi Mordechai Mushchatichya, my precious beloved dear daughter, Rebbe's name, Chasni Kariv Chavivi Harav Menachem Mendel, and my precious and dear son-in-law, and the Rebbe's name. Again, the same acronym, Kol Lachai. I think it's just a thank you for sending me letters. I don't know what that stands for. Someone knows, tell me. I don't know. Okay, so this letter is in Yiddish, as with all letters that the previous Rebbe writes to his daughter. So the letters that to his son-in-law, to the Rebbe, are Lashon Kodesh, are Hebrew, with interspersed with Yiddish, and the letters to his daughter are all in Yiddish. And this letter, as other letters, are combined addressed to both the Rebbe and his wife, and in that case, again, the letters are in Yiddish. So I'm going to try to read the Yiddish and translate. The Hebrew translation is on the left. Kinder Liebe, my beloved children, Euer Lieben schreiben, your beloved writing, habe ich mit groß Vergnügen erhalten. I received with great joy. Ich danke für dem Aver. I thank God for the past. I thank for the past. Ubet Allah haba, and I ask for the future. Uns oft schreiben mich shloimchem atov, to write often about how you're doing. The letter is the 14th of Tammuz. So the previous Rebbe says, Yud Beis and Yud Gimel, the 12th and the 13th, which is the previous Rebbe's birthday and the celebration of him coming out of jail. Yishem Ariber has already passed. Them, die zwei Tag, these 2 days of the 12th and 13th of Tammuz, Zayin Shem in the Sephira von Avar, are already in the sphere of the past. Ach, oi, wie gichter osid wird der how quickly the future becomes the present. Und noch gicher, and even quicker, wird der Avar, the present becomes the past. And Achmonas of dimension, it's a pity on people. Was is a zoi marlish claim that he's so morally small. Und noch mehr, and even a greater Achmonas, even greater pity, was the mensch is narish, that the person is foolish. The größte Narishkeit, the greatest foolishness from the mention of the person of human beings, is thus was alle verlieren, that all failures or lack, zet in dem Zweiten, he sees in the other. Nicht fühlendig, not realizing, as allein besitzt die verlieren, that he himself contains those very failures and those very lacks, those very weaknesses. Mention Wesen and feeling, as man darf werden klüger. People feel and know that they have to be smarter. But not very besser. We have to be better. But else the under bedarf das tun. But it's always the other guy got it. The other guy has to do it. But Lane is guten weil, while he himself is doing just fine. And then, and then the rest of the letter goes on to the previous we were talking about how there's an individual who is telling the previous Rebbe that he's trying to get the Rebbe to take a job as a rabbi in Paris, and the previous Rebbe is encouraging them to take that position. And there's a number of letters on that subject. I think we read them all. Did we miss a letter here? I think we're missing one. No, we didn't. Anyway, so that's just a little sampling of these letters. The whole book is more like this. I hope we're getting appreciation for how one Rebbe communicates to another, to whatever degree we can appreciate that. Just the language itself of people service overflowing of emotion and love and guidance for his daughter and son-in-laws itself. Something to appreciate, and considering we only had a half an hour, I thought this would be something nice to share with everybody. Have a wonderful day, Eden.